Superman, Batman, Public Enemies is a DC animated film that is based on the graphic novel with the same name, and the plot of this movie is pretty insane. It's set in a world where Lex Luthor was elected president. Wow, can you imagine that? So not only do you see what the world would be like with Lex as president, but of course, one of the first things he does is he places a bounty on Superman and Batman. They are public enemy number one. So not only do they have to worry about villains coming after them to collect, but also other superheroes are going after them because, well, this is coming from the president, so we have to go after them, right? Well, what I thought, or what I think of this movie is, I really, really enjoy this. This is awesome. This is fun. And what more can you ask for from an animated movie? Something that is hard to wrap your head around, I admit, is Lex Luthor becoming president. And you're almost thinking, well, how the hell did that happen? In what world would this guy ever become president? Well, we have to remember that Lex Luthor is only who he is to Superman. Only Superman really knows how evil he is, how vindictive he is, what type of things he's capable of. But in front of the public, he's like Donald Trump. He's this rich industrial businessman who, if he did go into politics, which is the next best thing from what he already does, he could be able to worm his way into it. And plus, when you do see him in office and he has people going after Superman and Batman, the one scene where he's on the news and he took a surveillance video of Superman defending himself against Luthor and his henchmen, but he edited it to look like Superman just went crazy and full of destruction. I mean, it's no wonder why he's believable, why his lies are convincing. So stuff like that, it makes sense. Now, like I said, there are even superheroes who are going after them. And I admit, I'm not familiar with every superhero that shows up here, but there's one in particular, Power Girl, who, this wasn't the first time I've seen her, but this was the first time, or this was the thing that made me go like, I like this girl, I like this character. Because almost every superhero that does show up, they almost blindly go along with this. And you kind of go like, okay, I get it, guys, it's from the president, but it's Lex Luthor. Can you at least have some doubt? Or you're going after Batman and Superman. Shouldn't you guys trust them on some level? But at least Power Girl is the one who stops and says, hold up, this doesn't make any sense. This isn't right. We have to at least think about this. And she sides with Superman and Batman. I love that. I also love the fact that she is voiced by Allison Mack, who, for anyone who watched Smallville, she played Chloe Sullivan, Clark Kent's best friend on that show. So seeing her play a DC superhero in some fashion is very cool. Also, Power Girl's design, like, how did they get away with that? She's basically a hot blonde who has the biggest breast that you've ever seen. And her cleavage is insane. I mean, look, is she hot to look at? Sure. But is she a good role model for girls who want to be superheroes? I don't know. I mean, I don't really have a huge issue with it, but it is kind of a thing, right? Like, it's amazing that they could get away with that. Anyways, there's a cool action moment where Metallo shows up and attacks Superman, but Batman helping. Seeing Batman and Superman work together is one of the coolest things about this movie, because sure, we do think of them working together. There has been some stories where they fought, but I like this shows why they are so close. This shows why they do trust each other, at least as much as you can. Just the world being against them, all they can do is rely on each other. The moment where Clark gets shot with a kryptonite bullet and he's hurt, he's weak, and Batman's having to almost drag him along underground to get him to the Batcave, that's camaraderie. That's like, wow, these guys are like brothers, and you enjoy seeing them like that. Also, the moment where they do reach the Batcave and Alfred shows up like a fucking badass with a shotgun, that was great. Now, there's another moment where, like I said, all of these villains come out of the woodwork to face these two. And the very first time I saw this, a few years ago, I didn't know hardly any of these villains. I didn't. But now that I've know more about some of these villains, more of these characters, it's cool to rewatch it and go like, wow, that's Gorilla Grodd, or wow, that's Killer Frost, or Captain Cold, or Giganta, Solomon Grundy, Lady Shiva. A lot of these ones I now know. So I thought that made it cool. Even though, sure, admittedly, Superman and Batman kind of kick all of their asses by themselves, so maybe it diminishes their value as a villain. But honestly, to the mainstream public, how many people took a lot of these villains seriously anyways? Towards the end, we see a cool fight between Superman, Batman, and Hawkman and Shazam. Which Hawkman I'm familiar with, but Shazam I'm more disappointed that he was quick to go after Superman. Superman is his role model. Superman is somebody that Shazam looked up to. And the fact that Shazam was just so like, I'm going to fight Superman, and he gets his ass kicked, it's, I don't know, it kind of makes him look dumb as a character. Now, we have Amanda Waller in this story. She works for Luthor, and now that I know Amanda Waller more, it's kind of funny to think that she would not know about Lex, all of her resources. She doesn't really know what he's up to, but it doesn't take long for her to find out what he's up to, and she does go against him. I did appreciate that, and she's voiced by CCH Pounder, which that's perfect. Now, Lex, like I said, when I think of Lex, when I think of my version of Lex, I don't think of him being this big jacked up guy who he has been in a lot of the animated movies and even the show. And when I think about that, I've probably watched and grown up more with Lex being the big bodybuilding type guy, more so than anything else. But I think of him more as a smaller guy who uses his intellect to get at Superman. But I do like him, how in this story, he's almost injecting kryptonite like heroin. It's like a drug. He's shooting it into himself. And so that's how he's getting big and strong. You see the veins popping out. And of course he has that giant suit that he uses to fight Superman in. So even though this might not be my definitive Lex Luthor, I do like the idea that he had the suit built, because he does want to face Superman mano a mano. He doesn't just want to sit on the sidelines or have certain villains face Superman and fail, not get the job done. He says, look, if you gotta do it, I'm going to do it myself. But how do you end a movie like this? Well, you have a big, giant, half Superman, half Batman robot. Holy shit. That's awesome. So again, I have a whole lot of fun with this movie. So guys, let me know in the comments below if you two have seen Public Enemies. What did you think of it? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!